Now, ladies and gentlemen, along with the workforce capabilities in the current era, technologies of sorts are playing a big role in transforming the business outcomes. At the CES 2022, the Consumer Electronics Show 2022, the talk was focused on some of these technologies. Our next session will give us insights into these technologies. It is technology, immersive technologies in learning, augmented reality, virtual reality, and gamified content. This will contribute to transformative learning. To take this forward, please welcome Ankit Khetrapal, Game Development Manager, NIIT Limited, Sunil Mavinkurve, Head Immersive Learning, Media and Quality, NIIT Limited. Over to you, gentlemen.
Hi, good evening. So let me start. Immersive has become the buzzword in the industry. Typically, when world thinks of immersive, they look at virtual reality or augmented reality that comes to their mind. But is that all that immersive has? Well, no. I mean, there's much more to immersive, and that's what there's much more beyond AR, VR, which use these fancy headsets, right? I mean, that's what we'll talk about, and how immersive learning is used in the learning industry and how we are using it. And by the way, gaming industry uses addictive for the term as addictive for immersive. So most of the games are tagged based on how addictive they are. So let's see, that's another catchword which learning also we use. Let's have a quick look at the video that NIIT has on how some of the things that NIIT has done in immersive technologies in learning.
The future of work is shaping the future of learning. It's time to transform the learning experience with immersive technology backed by award-winning instructional design. At NIIT Infinity, we provide a full suite of immersive learning solutions that not only transforms learning, but also delivers measurable business impact. Our mission-based training scenarios combines expert coaching and feedback with hands-on practice in a safe and true-to-life environment that features realistic challenges. Through a sound learning methodology that incorporates NIIT's award-winning critical mistake analysis and proven E=MC5 approach, NIIT creates immersive learning experiences that enable natural learning in the flow of work. Our goal is to elicit emotional and visceral responses that ultimately drive behavior change among learners. With a variety of possible modes, including virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and gamified learning, NIIT can help prepare your workforce by creating the experiences that allow employees to actively master skills, exercise their judgment, and safely experience mistakes and consequences. By delivering authentic decision-making experiences in safe environments, immersive technology can help us drive the future of learning forward with infinite possibilities. The future of learning is immersive. Are you ready to experience, respond, and evolve? Extend your reality with NIIT Infinity Immersive Learning Solutions.
Well, that was a quick glimpse of what we do, but I think we'll delve into more detail in the next half an hour and look at why is immersive learning becoming so important in this industry. I mean, if you look at traditionally, the learning was done using print media, for example, books, right? Or you had instructor-led training or classroom training where people taught. This then got augmented by computer-based training, or CBTs as we know, which provided a little more information, but didn't have the you didn't have to come together to do it. Now, the older CBTs or e-learnings used to be largely paper-based. I mean, we know the first advent of anything immersive was a Flash-based animation, and Flash is dead today. So I think, but if you really look at information, that has a very short half-life. We tend to forget what we read. We tend over time, and that kind of that's not helpful when you want to learn. And so what we retain is knowledge, and knowledge is retained much longer. Knowledge, as we all know, comes from the Greek word gnosis, which signifies knowing through observation or experience. And I think that is what I think immersiveness brings in, or learning, where learning helps, where you are able to do things over and over again, and you are involved in the learning itself. You make mistakes and you learn from that in a safe environment. That's how we are using immersive technologies in learning, or that's how immersive technologies are helping in learning, by putting the learner in the situation, and he's either observing or himself experiencing and taking decisions on the situation. Okay, I think in addition, I mean, learning should be engaging, entertaining. It should keep him engaged onto the activity he's doing, whether it's on a VR headset or whether it's on a computer screen. And he should be involved in it. Otherwise, how will he learn? That's what immersive is for us in terms of learning. Immersive itself has many channels and modes. I mean, we commonly talk of it as VR, but there are many ways to achieve immersive. And that's what we'll look at in the coming 20-25 minutes. And I'll hand over to Ankit to take that further. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you. Firstly, a very good evening to all of you. So as Sunil tried to emphasize during his initial talk, that when we think about immersive technologies, the first thing which comes to people's mind is augmented reality and virtual reality. So those are the two things which the world actually sees as immersive learning, or the technologies through which we can build immersive content. But when we actually see the word immersive, it kind of derives on the fact that any content which could be immersive for a user, the person feels engaged and attached to that content, that kind of technologies can be used to deliver immersive learning content. So if you're seeing on my screen, on the left quadrant, we kind of have the VR devices, which again have multiple types of VR devices. Some are 3D OF devices, some are 6D OF devices. Technically, with the lower end VR devices, you will just be able to see the player movement and rotation being transposed to the virtual world. With the high end devices, we can get the full body movements, even finger movements, leg movements, and all those can be transported to the virtual world. We'll be showing some demos as we go down on how these different devices can be used to cater different learning needs. So that's one set. Second, very important type of technology which is being used a lot these days is the 360 video technology, because delivering conventional VR is, I'll say, a bit of cost effective, and it's not that easy to deploy. With the 360 approach, we can easily get 360 solutions which can work on people's browsers, desktops, through just keyboard and mouse, or even through cheap Google Cardboard sets, which hardly cost 400-500 rupees. That's another type of technology which is used a lot in immersive learning these days, which is also very cost effective. And not to forget the most important ones, our desktops, mobiles, tablets, they can also be used to deliver learning content, good immersive learning content. It's not just about using a high-end hardware to deliver immersive content. It also depends upon the right gamification strategies which we can use, or using the right game design principles through which we can get the user addictive to our system, make him play our learning content again and again, make it competitive, make it challenging, and most important, make it fun. So these are the different subsets we can, or the different types of technologies we can use to deliver immersive learning. Now, I'll just discuss a common real world scenario which we face with our customers. So any customer who comes to us with an immersive learning need, the first thing we get to hear from them is that this is the budget we have. Okay, and they come with the understanding that they have this budget and they want to build something around the immersive lines. But that is not kind of the right approach. The first thing which we should be thinking when we are trying to create any immersive learning content is the learning need. We need to identify what kind of learning need do we need to deliver to our end users, whether the users who are taking this content need to completely remember the surroundings in which they are taking this learning event, or whether the interactions which they would be doing inside this ecosystem are those they want to remember. So it's very important to first understand what is the learning need, and then think of the cost factor. Second most important factor which should be considered is the deployment infrastructure when we are working with immersive technologies. Because with the way the world is evolving, every quarter, every year, we see new devices being launched in the market. We see new hardware getting in. We see new software technologies through which we can deliver immersive content. So second most important thing which the people kind of ignore when thinking about immersive learning is what kind of technologies they already have and what kind of infra they can update to. Third thing, which should be the deciding factor, should be the cost, but it's actually a vice versa, which we see with our customers. They just kind of go the reverse route. The first should be learning need, but with most of our customers, we see cost being a decisive factor, which is not the right approach to take when we're talking about immersive learning. So now what we'll do is we'll try and look at a few demos which we have developed over the past few years in NIIT, and me and Sunil will intervene in between to give you an idea on the kind of technology we use there and why that particular technology was used. So I'll play the first video and I'll have the control back to Sunil once the video is done.
The virtual tour is an exciting and innovative way to learn about the agency business at MetLife. Powered by the latest virtual reality technology, you can access the virtual tour anytime, anywhere, on any device. The virtual tour teleports you into a virtual agency where you explore the support functions engaged in the sales process, such as underwriting, claims, sales and marketing, and policy administration, and learn about their key functions, roles, and responsibilities. Learners dive into a panoramic and interactive 360-degree environment, modeled using realistic three-dimensional imagery, relatable characters, and a 360-degree navigation strategy. The virtual tour lets learners explore and interact with strategically placed interactive elements as they move from one section to the other. A holographic character introduces each support function. Expert videos elaborate on the role of the service partners, underwriters, claims experts, actuaries, and other support functions. Other interactive elements like video walls and hotspots introduce information about products, policies, procedures, and guidelines relevant to MetLife's agency business. The virtual tour enables a robust jumpstart into sales for all associates by exposing them to the functioning of the agency business and enhancing their sales readiness. The architecture can be easily customized to meet the requirements of other business channels as well.
Over to you, Sunil.
Yeah, this is an interesting 360 video we did, a 360 project we did for an induction program for the MetLife insurance agents. Okay, so these agents hardly came into office, and the need was that they could get an induction program when they join, and they could get a look and feel of how the office looks like, what the various departments are. And this was done pre-COVID, and you can think of how important or how relevant this will be today when most of us are in the hybrid era. So I think you could, now we've used 3D out here. This could also be used, this could also use live video. You could shoot the campus and put it. You could also have live video of characters, which is the people who speak. It has its own pros and cons, but I think this is a very interesting program, which interesting way to take induction in for a lot of companies, especially in the current post-COVID era. This is pretty much cost-effective and can be done quickly as against other gamified solutions. Yeah, Ankit.
Okay, thanks, Sunil. So Sunil just showed you the 360 approach, which is easily deployable, cost effective, but that might not cater to all learning needs. In that approach, you wanted the user to be adapted to the environment in which he would be joining the office later, or you just wanted him to remember the surroundings. But let's consider a scenario for a pharma company. So the next video we're going to show you is for Sanofi. So they have this big lab somewhere in US. Okay. And every time a new joiner, a new person enters this lab, he has to make sure that he completely sanitizes his body. He wears all the safety gear. He sanitizes all the glasses, headgears, everything which he is wearing. He has to sanitize that. Every hardware or every gadget he is wearing has to be removed. All the guidelines which the lab has for them. So in that particular case, even before the person has entered this lab, there's a lot of procedures which he has to understand. There are a lot of hazards if he doesn't follow that, and it can be a risky business if he's straightly put into that real lab where he is not following those sanitation procedures properly. So to help with that, we created a simulation which uses a full body IK system. So a full body IK system is basically where you are tracking the complete body movement, even your finger movements, your hand movements, your leg movements, everything from the real world is completely transposed to the virtual world. So once a user has experienced the simulation in the virtual world, once he actually enters this lab, which is a replica of the lab they have in US, they would be completely familiar with the environment. They would have actually hands-on tried all those interactions by avoiding all the hazards which they could have activated if they were actually put into a lab straight away. So let's just show you a quick video for this. All these movements you are seeing, they are being done in the real world by a person. They are completely transposed to the virtual. So you can imagine once the person has experienced this simulation, once he gets into the lab, into the real world, he is completely familiar with the complete environment, all the operations he has to conduct. And the main part which Sunil talked about, it's about knowledge, it's not information. We could have given him a book or a WBT through which he could have read all these instructions. But through this course, he can actually experience all those interactions, which would be more long-lived in their memory. The next one we are going to look at is more around some augmented reality demos. These are some which can be easily deployed through mobile platforms. So the first one we have done is for a publishing company. So they have these books for K-12 students. So what we are trying to do here is, if the students take out their phone and try and scan the cover of the books, a completely new fun interactive game will pop up. So the first two demos on this are from one of their maths book and one of their science book. I'll run this.
Can you find the triangles? That's right! Whoops, I can't. Woohoo! Awesome! Speed!
This was for the maths book, and now we are.
In the known history of life on our planet, it has undergone dramatic and often catastrophic change. Life has not only survived, but it has often thrived, with seemingly irrecoverable ecosystems slowly but surely rising from the ashes. Using the slider on screen, observe how this small example of life shows its ability to overcome adversity and recover, to become home to later generations of plant and animal life.
So using augmented reality, we can basically enhance our real world. With a virtual reality technique, the user completely goes into a virtual world and then he is inside that world. But with augmented reality, we can kind of enhance and augment the information over real world elements. Imagine it like this. We want to, let's say, perform safety operations over a machinery, or we want to train people on how to diagnose a damaged car. With augmented reality, we can simply do that. We can take our phones out, scan the damaged area, and overlay information over the parts. We can define through augmented reality what each part is called. We can add videos overlaid over the content, which can talk more about the damaged part. We can even give additional 3D graphics over it, which could have a character coming in and showing how a particular part is repaired. So augmented reality works more when you want to enhance or add more information over the real world for the users to enhance their knowledge and learning. Okay, we are running short on time, so I'll just move to the next set.
Can you?
Okay, so next here is something we did for FM Global. So this is basically a boiler inspection, and they have these huge offices in which they have these Microsoft Surface tablets, which are 42 inches tablets. So what we did for them was we created an interactive inspection for their boiler, how it runs, what are the different procedures. So rather than playing a flat video, which used to play on their televisions, we created an interactive system through which they can interact with the different operations of a boiler, see what each interaction does, what changes it brings upon. Let's have a look.
FM Global Insurance, in collaboration with NIIT Global Learning, presents a cutting-edge virtual boiler simulation. Arising from a need to train engineers tasked with inspecting dangerous steam boilers, this simulation allows learners to safely view, understand, and interact with a meticulous 3D replica of an enormous piece of equipment in a pocket-sized product. Experts from FM Global led designers from NIIT through the literal ins and outs of the full-scale equipment to capture photos, videos, and critical information pertaining to the safe operation of the hazardous pressurized equipment. After several detailed design workshops, 3D modelers captured precise replicas of the boiler's 8 subsystems and components, while professional former AAA game designers brought these components to life through robust animations. This simulation goes beyond experiential learning. Learners are able to observe the usual outer surface of the boiler during operation, or toggle to a cutaway view inside the boiler as it's running to observe the active flow of materials, an innovative experience with no real-life parallel, including actual inspections. The experience may be exclusive, but the applications are not. Shared from a common repository, this versatile app may be used for individual employee exploration on personal Microsoft Surface laptops, or may be used as a lecture aid during large-scale classes using the Microsoft Surface Hub devices found in FM's Global Advanced Classrooms. The functionality of the simulation is built for versatility, giving learners the power to choose between a detailed walkthrough of the equipment and a self-guided exploration of the boiler's components. The FM Global Virtual Boiler, a safe, cost-effective, and captivating way for learners to engage with high-risk, yet highly necessary material.
You might have observed how the visual fidelity for this solution was. We were able to completely replicate all the internal boiler operations on a tablet, and the way we work is we generally use a game engine to develop all these simulations. So there's ever a need to basically transport these solutions from one platform to another. That can be done very quickly and very cost effectively. And I think we're running out of time. I think there's time for one more, which I would like to do. So the next one is basically something we did for a oil and gas company. So they have this refinery and they have to train people on how to work at this refinery. And it's very hazardous to get people straight into a refinery because there are a lot of safety risk which comes in at a place like a refinery, it could lead to hazard, it could lead to accidents. So before they want the new joinees to enter into a refinery, they make them go through this simulation, which runs on an iPad, to get familiar with the environment, understand the hazards, and understand how a particular machinery is being used. Let's look at this video.
Developed to test and reinforce employee knowledge of typical well control operational procedures, this training program puts trainees on a virtual, realistic drilling rig where they are required to interpret and execute a supervisor's order. In order to create a training program more accessible to its employees, Shell's simulation-based training is designed to be used on the iPad platform, allowing learners the access to develop their well control knowledge anytime, from any place. In addition to its convenience, this program utilizes gaming principles, offering the opportunity to expand on the various forms of instruction presented to the players, thereby increasing the level of learner recall. Each scenario begins with the trainee receiving an instruction or request from a drilling rig supervisor. Once the instructions have been received, the trainee uses the controls on their iPad to navigate through a model Shell drilling location, on which they will find the controls and equipment they will need to use and be familiar with every day on their real job. The simulated control panels and equipment demonstrated in this training program are entirely interactive and will respond appropriately to users' actions, which will ultimately decide the outcome of each situation. Scenarios included ask trainees to use their knowledge of a drilling rig to perform routine procedures, such as conducting equipment checks and overseeing circulation, analyze control readings to seek out potential problems, and resolve a variety of spontaneous operational issues. Produced with the help of some of the industry's most qualified subject matter experts, this program offers a realistic environment to develop basic well control skills.
Well, there are many other demos we would have loved to show you, but I guess we are running out of time. So I'd like to open the board for any questions if you guys have for us.
Yeah, I think there were some questions on the chat box, so I'll quickly try and see the ones that so yeah, I think we actually dropped the leadership training from this demo. There was one which we had done on for bribery and corruption for a large company. Again, it was very interesting because what was offered to us was an 80-page PDF to kind of on bribery and on corruption, on what the standards need to be followed. And we developed a 3D simulation to kind of do that. We do have a demo here, but because of time, we dropped it. I think there was another question on how can we determine whether learners are fully immersed. Yes, you can. I mean, there are we are partnered with a company called Immersive.io, and they have a platform where these courses can be hosted, and those can track what the person did at any point in time. In fact, you can not only just track what the person did, you as a trainer can get into that immersive, into that VR environment and guide the person what's doing. So it's very much possible. It's not that we can't do it. That's one more question. Yeah, you can update, and that's what I was talking about, pros and cons. I mean, if you have a video of a person's video, then you probably need to, and the person took a different role in the company, then you probably need to reshoot a video and embed it again. So that's where that's the con of having videos of people, or for that matter, You can even create a 360 video and embed it again. So it's actual video or a 3D video can be changed. Can we do it on the fly? Probably not. And it'll take some amount of effort to do it and recoding to do it. That I didn't quite understand the sequencing one, but if you're meaning that can various programs can be sequenced again using a platform, you can sequence various programs and you can blend, if that was the question. If there are any more, happy to answer. Back to you, little.
Thank you, Dhanyavad, Adaraniya Mahoday, Sunil and Ankit for sharing with us the value of immersive technologies in learning.